Castroneves, a pleasant surprise with Toyota power, and outside is Tony Kanaan, hoping to wrap up the championship here this afternoon. In the second row on the inside, a three-time winner this season is Buddy Rice. Buddy Rice will start from inside the second row alongside Dario Franchitti, who has also found victory lane on 2 occasions this season. We move to row 3 on the inside. Another Andretti Green teammate on the inside is Dan Weldon. Weldon, who's won 3 times as well, will start next to A.J. Foyt. And for young Mr. Foyt, this is his best qualifying effort, starting outside row 3 in the 6th position. In the 4th row, here's your 2-time champion. He's a 2-time defending champion, Sam Hornish, for Penske Racing on the inside. On the outside was Vitor Mira. Then it's Brian Herta and Adrian Fernandez, who has also won this season, starting outside row 5. In the 6th row, Darren Manning re-upping with his team for next season, and Townsend Bell starting outside of the 6th row. In row 7, Scott Sharp, his 87th consecutive start. Last year's season champion, having a tough time this year, Scott Dixon. Alex Barron and his teammate on the Cheever Red Bull team, rookie Ed Carpenter, occupying the same row. There's Kazuki Matsura and Mark Taylor in row 9. And in the 10th row, it'll be Felipe Giafoni, and the winner here 3 years ago, Jacques Lazier. And rounding out the field will be Tora Takagi and Thomas Scheckter, who did not take a qualifying time yesterday as they changed the engine.
Yeah, so he had to move to the back, and it's going to be tough for him to move back to the front. But he has, he has the willpower. He's a good enough racer. He can do that. Okay, it's a 200-lap, 483-kilometer race. Sam Hornish was the winner last year. The pit window, 43 to 47 laps. If we get some yellows, they could stretch it to 50.
And we have a host of onboards as you look back from Scott Dixon. He'll be starting back in the 14th position. There is Townsend Bell. Townsend starts in the 12th position here this afternoon. And there's Thomas Scheckter, and what a view of the start he's going to have, because he's starting at the back of the pack, starting in 22nd. There's Scott Sharp. He's starting in 13th position. A good start for him, one of the best starts he's had all season. There's Darren Manning. He'll be starting in 11th position. And looking over there from Tony Kanaan's car to your pole position winner, Helio Castroneves. Toyota on the point. Kanaan will have the second starting position with the Honda. And Hondas will start 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this thing unfolds, especially with Scheckter starting far back in the back and trying to move his way forward.
Should have the green this time by. Remember, Tony Kanaan has led 10 races this year for 118 laps led. Dan Weldon has won or led 8 races for 397 laps. Look at this.
Wow.
There will be no start. They're going to wave off the start because Kanaan did not stay up with Castroneves, and so they wave the start off.
Yeah, that was Castroneves. They put cones in the fence out there, and you have to wait till you get to that cone to accelerate. Obviously, Castroneves either took off before he got to the cone or as soon as he got to the cone, and Kanaan was not ready for that, and so they had to abort the start. They weren't going to let him get 4 or 5 car length lead and everybody else went into turn 1.
So how much of a difference on fuel consumption can the one additional lap make?
Well, under yellow it won't make that much. So they get about 5 to 6 miles per gallon under slow conditions, only about 2.5. Ooh, he gets another good start.
They're going to let it go this time. You're right along with Kanaan. They're going to let it go. Watch for the flag. And they're going to let it go this time. They're going to let it go.
Well,
we've seen a lot better starts than that.
Obviously, Castroneves got on it where he was supposed to. Look at Kanaan going right after him right away on the outside. Just looked like Kanaan did not have as low a first gear, but once he got going, he took off. Now 3 abreast into turn 1.
Who's going to lead this first lap? Looks like Kanaan may have the advantage coming off that corner. Who's going to lead the first lap? Kanaan.
Wow, this is the kind of racing that we've come to expect. Side by side, it looks like a 220-mile-an-hour pace lap as the first 3 rows still run side by side.
Still some wide 2 and 3 wide back in the pack. And look at Dan Weldon. Sneaks up right behind his teammate. And he's trying to take 2nd position from Castroneves.
Yeah, Castroneves falling back just slightly. It looks like they're going to fall into single file, the first 3 anyway.
Once again, there's a battle within a battle because only 3 drivers can contend for the championship. 2 are in your picture right now, Tony Kanaan and Dan Weldon. And Buddy Rice right now is back in 7th position.
Yeah, he did not get a good start. you kind of, I'm not sure exactly what happened. It looked like there's a little smoke, puff of smoke, maybe somebody bottoming out back there.
Well, there is a bump on that straightaway. There's also a big bump on the backstretch that we've seen the guys hit this weekend in practice and qualifying. Now, Foyt did not get a good start. He's back to 10th after starting 6th. So Kanaan leads Weldon. Castroneves, Franchitti is now 4th. So 3 of the 4 Andretti Green teammates are in the top 4. Hornish is now 5th. Then it's Mira.
Hornish got way wide coming off of that corner, and Franchitti actually fell back. Looks like he lost a couple of spots that time.
This is the kind of action we expect to see from start to finish on these racetracks.
Yeah, Franchitti went from 4th to 7th in 1 lap there. Hornish got under him. Then that was him that we saw that smoke, that little puff of smoke. It looked like he bottomed out, and when he did, he had to get out of the throttle, and a couple of cars went around him.
So it was actually the skid plate.
It was a skid plate. It wasn't smoke. Asphalt. It was actually just dust from where he looked like he bottomed out.
Well, remember, there are bonus laps for leading the most laps. 3 bonus laps. If they run like this all afternoon, the 3 bonus laps won't make a whole lot of difference. Points. Yeah. Bonus points. But right now, the guy that's in second in points is tucked in the second position on the racetrack. So they could run like this, like I say, all day. Again, the magic number is 107. If Tony Kanaan can come away with a 107-point margin, he would take the championship. The likelihood of that? Unlikely.
Well, yeah, it's not as likely. He probably will have to wrap it up the next time out. But still, there's Buddy Rice back there in 5th position. That's his teammate, Vito Mira.
Almost contact between the 2 teammates. Or maybe there was some contact. It looked like Vito's right front almost got the left rear of Rice, and Vito gets around him.
Well, Vito wants
the way to treat your teammate who's a points contender this early in the race.
But Vito Mira wants to win very badly. He's signed for next year. Look at this, 3 abreast.
They get the nose out in clean air. More downforce in the front end. There's old AJ looking at his grandkid, who's back there in 9th position. It dropped to 10th. Now he's back to 9th.
Well, he's running right there with the tall dogs, though. I mean, he's racing pretty hard with some pretty tough company. The first time, realistically, that we've seen him racing
competitive
with the front pack all year long.
Look at this. He noses to the inside of Franchitti.
Wow.
He in his Wheaties this morning or what?
Yeah, he looks real racy.
This kid.
Well, it's good to see. I mean, that young man's had a lot of trouble. He's had a lot of car breakage. He hasn't run so good.
Realistically, a lot of us questioned if he belonged in the IRL at his age.
A lot of people questioned whether he even should be racing here, but you can race like this with these guys, then you belong.
Well, he's racing right now. Now, he started up in 6th position, dropped back to 10th. He's picked off Franchitti and Manning, so now he's back in 8th position, and he's working on Towns and Bell.
He's running right down around the bottom of the racetrack. Bell was up the racetrack a little bit. Looked like Bell got into the corner a little bit and pulled away. Ooh, Dixon on the outside, I think. That's Manning on the outside.
Manning. Look at this, still 2 and 3 wide.
Franchitti just continues to go backwards. He's got some sort of a handling problem with that car as he just gets passed again. Now then, Mr. Foyt having a little bit of a battle here with Carpenter, another rookie.
Carpenter's in the 9th position right now, trying to overhaul Mr. Foyt. Carpenter, a graduate of Butler University in Indianapolis with a degree in marketing. But right now, he's going to let that degree stand, and he's going to be a full-time race driver as long as he can.
Well, he's doing a great job. He and Townsend Bell, the two best Chevrolets on the racetrack right now.
Right now, you have to go back to the top 10 are separated by less than 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
On lap 13. So once again, Tony Kanaan did not get a very good start right at the start, but was leading that first lap and has led all 12 so far this afternoon. Mild racing action here from Chicagoland. This is what we've come to expect because this track has produced the closest finish in the history of 100 races of this Indy Racing League. 24 ten-thousandths of a second. It has produced 2 of the closest 5. And look at this. Here is Schechter battling with Vito Mira. That is the battle for 4th position.
Boy, that's close racing.
Mira's teammate is up there in 3rd. You see Buddy Rice up there. And who's this? Here comes Franchitti. Where'd he come from?
Well, I don't know, but you can see that it looks like the Chevrolet does not really have the straightaway speed that some of these other cars have. He gets up there, he gets a little bit of a run on them, but just when they get there side by side, and there's only two cars, look how much faster he goes through the corner. Look how quick he goes through the corner.
And they're finding that higher groove they're liking because Franchitti just moved up on the racetrack.
Yeah.
So they're stacked up side by side. There's Townsend Bell in the upper right of your screen in that blue car, the number 2 car. It's still Tony Kanaan. He has led every lap of this race. Now remember, there are 3 bonus points for leading the most laps.
And look at this, Buddy Rice to the outside of Weldon. He got a run on him down that front straightaway.
Well, Weldon was warned about blocking, so they're running side by side right now, tucked in behind Kanaan.
So Weldon was right in behind Kanaan, so he lost the front end a little bit, had to get out of the throttle.
We want to show you a replay, Larry, of this number 3 and number 6 car perhaps touching out there on the racetrack as they were running side by side. Now watch this as they go 3 wide.
Oh, that was the big bump down the back straightaway. You saw Hornish go under, and they're going into turn number 3. Looked like there was a little bit of a touch right there. Hornish got out of the throttle and let him go.
Well, Tor Takagi is the only driver that has really lost contact with this lead pack. It's only 2.6 seconds separating first and 21st. Look at that.
Yeah, everybody's right together. Once you lose contact, once you lose the draft here on this racetrack, you're out of the hunt. You've got to have that draft. You've got to have that suction pulling you along.
But we're seeing guys go to 3rd, 4th position, then drop all the way back 8th, 9th, then come right back again.
Well, it all has to do with the draft and how you get caught, and if you have to lift a little bit. If you suck right up behind somebody and you're blocked, or somebody on both sides of you, you have to lift. It can cost you a lot. Look at this.
Look at this. We're going to have a new leader at the end of lap 45.
As Weldon
drops 2 positions.
Weldon followed him right on around as they both got a run, and there goes Schechter. Once he
now, is there a problem in car 11?
I think again it's all a matter of the draft and who got a run on who. And once he got stuck down there, they just went right on around him.
Well, Rice led that lap, but right now it looks like Weldon has a run on him. And Weldon may become the 3rd leader this afternoon as he gets a good pass down into turn 3. And here comes Schechter.
Schechter helped him out. Schechter helped him get that little bit of a draft on the outside. And now that Schechter's going to go to the outside of him, hopefully take over first. I don't think he's going to get it done.
Now, Larry, it's interesting. We talk about the draft. That is a term that we've not used a whole lot in IndyCar racing over the years.
No, because of the aerodynamics are so much different than they are in stock cars. You can see that big bump there that they just went over. Look at this. Hoyt is right there, too. He's still running in the top 5.
The Pennzoil Panther team setting up for a pit stop. We've seen in past races that this car does not get the fuel mileage that the Hondas or Toyotas get.
The Chevrolets do not seem to get as good a fuel mileage. That could hurt him in the long run, especially if the yellow flag comes out. But they've run 47 laps. That's about where we thought they would be pitting. It looks like some of the other guys, most of the other guys, obviously are going to stay out there. Look at this. Young Foyt moves into 3rd spot. How many times have you seen that?
That's Kanaan.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm
Kanaan.
sorry.
Foyt's actually back in 10th.
I'm
that was
sorry.
Kanaan. Kanaan was battling with Mira for 3rd spot. You have to wonder if the tires are going away on that car or something else is wrong, or he's just they're going to change the front wing, a front wing adjustment perhaps coming up here on Thomas Schechter. Let's watch to see if there is an adjustment. Yes, there it is right there. Now that's curious. As good as he's gone, and yet they needed to adjust the chassis.
Wow, and that
make that car better.
And that cost them time in the pits. As you can see, one of the Penske teams in there too. So he wasn't getting that much worse gas mileage than Toyotas. As their Chevrolets and Toyotas all heading in, and the Hondas are the only ones who haven't made a pit stop.
Rice, Mira, and Franchitti will be headed for pit lane. There's Castroneves, the pole position car. 7.8 seconds on that pit stop. Weldon is the 3rd leader. Kanaan led the first 44 laps. Rice led 1 lap, 45. Weldon took the lead on lap 46.
Here comes Rice and Mira. Franchitti. So now everybody making their pit stops lap 50. So they did get 50 laps.
So let's see if Weldon and Kanaan come in together. Taylor is now 3rd. Foyt is 4th with those leaders dropping off in front of him to make their pit stop.
I thought 50 laps would be about the most, but it looks like at least some of them are going to make 51, 52. Here comes Kanaan. He made 51 laps.
Weldon stays out, so who will assume the lead now after this first round of pit stops?
Well, the thing it's going to do is spread them out. They're all not going to have identical pit stops, so some guys who have lousy pit stops are going to lose the draft. And you can see that the pit stops so far have gone remarkably well. Nobody's had a problem as of yet.
Right down the leaderboard, it's Weldon, Fernandez, Taylor, Matsuura, Carpenter, and Sharp. And remember, they're shuffling through for the pit stops.
Yeah, we're going to see everybody have to come in very, very shortly. I'm surprised they've gone 52, some of them 53 laps. That's a long, long way to go.
So Matsuura becomes the fourth leader here this afternoon. That will change when he makes his pit stop. He leads lap 53. Herta has yet to stop. Weldon peels off and heads for his Andretti Green pit crew.
Pit stop's extremely important. Not only the stop itself, but how quickly you get in and out of the pits makes a huge difference. So the guys will be trying to run through that pit lane very quickly, on and off, and if they make a mistake there and spin, it could cost them too.
They just changed right rear side tires in that car?
I think they changed all four. Fernandez beat Weldon out, though. Weldon did not have a very good pit stop as Fernandez beat him out.
Herta will lead a lap.
He's coming in, and Matsuura is going to be the last guy to make a pit stop, it looks like.
The scoring monitor is showing now the debris is bursted. They got Matsuura still in the lead. So
yeah, Herta led the last lap.
Out right now.
Yeah, Herta led lap 54, and Matsuura led lap 55. Those two guys stayed out longer than anybody else.
Five different leaders so far this afternoon. There's Herta. Adjustment.
Everybody seems to be making front wing adjustments. Almost everybody out there. They're probably in the traffic. They're probably losing the front end a little bit. So here comes Matsuura. He's the last one to make a pit stop, and he will have led a lap, but he'll lose a lot of that right now.
So I could put Fernandez in the lead, which would be our sixth different leader here this afternoon.
Fernandez had a terrific pit stop. He was in and out of there very, very quickly. He beat everybody in that group that went in at that time. He beat all of them out. Rice had a good pit stop. Fernandez, Kanaan. Schechter is the one who had a very slow pit stop. He's back in 11th spot right now, and mostly because they made that front wing change, and it took them a little bit longer to do that than everybody else.
So Fernandez is your leader. Rice runs in second, then Kanaan, then Weldon, Castroneves, Mira, Franchitti. So the big loser of that pit stop was Ford. He's back in 18th position.
Yeah, wow. That's too bad for him because
he's doing it on the racetrack, but the team didn't get it done in the pit area.
Well, they're used to coming in there and taking their good old time. They weren't used to being up front where they have to do it so quickly. It doesn't look like, because they did not have a good pit stop at all.
Here comes Mira looking to the inside.
Wow, he's underneath Kanaan.
And Schechter now, after that round of pit stops, finds himself back in 9th position.
But they did. I was wrong about one thing. They all did come out pretty much in a group again.
Yeah, so much for being spread out.
Exactly. They're very, very. At least the first 13 of them are all still pretty much in a group.
Contact between Scott Sharp and Darren Manning. Slight contact. We've had a number of situations here this afternoon where cars have come in contact with other cars, but we've not had a yellow. We've had 6 different leaders. Kanaan led the first 44 laps, then Rice took the lead on 45, then Weldon took the lead for about 6 laps, then the pit stops began. Matsuura had the lead for a couple laps. Herta led a lap. Now Fernandez is our 5th. We've got 6th different leader here this afternoon. So Fernandez leading the Rahal Letterman teammates of Buddy Rice and Vito Mira. Tony Kanaan back there in 4th position.
Right now, Castroneves is the highest running Toyota in 5th spot, and Schechter is the highest running Chevrolet back in 10th spot. So he lost several spots, Schechter did, on that pit stop exchange. And now then he's going to have to do it all over again, pass all those cars all over again, I should say.
A couple times this season, Vito Mira has finished 2nd. He has 1 pole position. He's battling right now for third position. He's on the inside. You're riding with Tony Kanaan back there in fourth.
And you can see how those guys all stick right down to the bottom of the race. Oh, boy. Man. He had to shift gears. He had to get on the brakes a little bit because he could not get in underneath Fernandez, and so he had to shift gears and back out of it.
There's Manning. There's Giafone.
Yep.
There's Schechter. These guys are just plain hungry. Some have signed contracts. Some have yet to sign a contract. As we documented earlier, they flat told Giafone, you either get your foot in the throttle or we're going to put somebody else in the cockpit.
Yeah, he's under a lot of pressure here today. He's got to produce and he's got to run well. And even though he's in a Chevrolet, when you got Thomas Schechter out there running up front, there's no reason, or at least the team owners don't think there's any reason that you shouldn't be doing the same thing.
Right along with Kanaan as he goes by Mira now. You're riding with Schechter. Schechter back in 8th position. Right, look at Hornish.
He just moved up one. Now he's going to move up maybe another spot as he's up there in no man's land once again, right on the edge of that black, and right above that, up in the white stuff. That's where the marbles are. You got to be very, very careful when you get your right side tires up there.
Hornish put a bit of a squeeze on him right there. Then Hornish dives down the inside, and Schechter stays up high. They work on lap 65. It is a warm day here just west of Chicago, and these fans have been on their feet during the first few laps because they're running side by side, nose to tail. They've settled into a rhythm now. As you look at that lead pack, Adrian Fernandez with that lead right there over Mira. Mira has gotten around his teammate Rice. Rice is now third, Kanaan is fourth, then Hornish, Weldon, Manning, Schechter, Franchitti, and then Giafone is 10th. The best ride we've seen for Giafone, and maybe that fire they lit is maybe some results.
The ultimatum. The first 16 cars still running nose to tail, side by side, as now Mira goes for the lead on the outside of Fernandez.
We've had 6 different leaders. Mira would be the 7th different leader if he can wrestle the lead.
He did lead that lap.
Did give him the credit for leading that lap.
So Vito Mira becomes another leader of this race as he's running side by side with Fernandez on the outside. He's not going to lead this one though. Wow. 12 starts, 9 top 10 finishes for Adrian Fernandez. He's really caught fire the last 3 or 4 events. He's another one like Thomas Schechter, who seems to have all of a sudden kind of got his act together and really started running up front. Before he was consistently in the top 10, but he was consistently 7th, 8th, and 9th.
He was also learning the race car. This is a new race package for him this season, and once he figured it out, we've seen what the last half of the season has produced as far as his effort.
Yeah, and he's really come on strong. He and Thomas Schechter probably are the 2 guys who have come on stronger here in the last few races than anybody else. 3 abreast now as Mira looked like Hornish and Rice were both going to get on the outside of him, but couldn't do it.
Now Fernandez leads Mira, Hornish, Rice. Weldon is 5th, then Schechter, Kanaan, Manning. We told you the big loser in that pit stop shuffle was A.J. Foyt because he'd been up in like 6th, 7th, 8th position consistently up there after qualifying 6th. And now he's in 18th position, mired near the back of the pack with Lazier and Taylor.
Yeah, and he actually has lost contact with this lead pack.
Here's Townsend Bell. Look how close is he. Does he get the fence? Does he get? Oh man, he's got the wall to contend with, and he's got Giafone.
Well, he got the wing in Giafone's left rear. So
watch this. This is one. This is Dixon and Sharp. Let's kiss and make up.
Yeah, boy. A little contact there, left rear to right rear. So
we have probably seen more contact so far in this race without a yellow than we've seen all season.
Yeah, and it's in these cars, open wheel cars, that kind of contact just cannot be tolerated. I mean, usually contact like that ends up
in the wall.
Yeah, very, very bad situation for everybody. So far they've been lucky, so they hopefully they won't get a lot more of that here today. But boy, when you're running this close, it's very tough not to.
On board with the Scott Sharp telemetry, you see the miles per hour. Look at the G load there, 3.7.
Yeah, the throttle. You can see he is getting out of the throttle at certain spots on the racetrack. Just because of the draft, you can't run flat out all the way through, all the way around. You get sucked up there. You've got to get out of the throttle because you've got cars on your right, you've got cars on your left, you've got cars in front of you.
Sharp back there on 13th. Giafone just went by him. Matsura and Castroneves. Castroneves back in the 15th position after starting from the pole position.
Yeah, he's really been struggling here for some reason, and he doesn't seem to be able to be passing anybody back there either. He's kind of just run there since he after that last pit stop.
The Hondas have first, second, third, and fourth position. Hornish is now fifth in a Toyota. The Chevy of Schechter is now in sixth position.
Looked like they were looking at the sidewall, the heat in the sidewall of the tires, and that is a factor here. The heat not only on the tread but in the sidewalls are a factor on the racetrack.
And Hurt is going to go around Castroneves for 15th position. There's a look at Schechter. Schechter now in sixth. Well, now we had a close call. We talked about all these close calls and contact. Look at this. Schechter, this a couple laps ago. Schechter and Weldon. Boom.
That's more than close. That was touch. And you could see that he was up there in
touch and go.
Yeah, and you could see that Schechter was up there in those marbles, and he was very delicately hanging on to that steering wheel and keeping that car under control.
If you're going to hit wheel to wheel, that's the way to hit.
Well, that's right, and he did a terrific job. You could see him moving that wheel ever so slightly. He didn't overcorrect, but he did correct and keep that thing under control.
Vito Mira says he'd like to have a share of that top spot again. He led for one lap. Vito Mira led lap 66. We're on lap 76 right now, and he looked to the high side but didn't have the momentum to get by.
Yeah, Hornish is making a little bit of a charge right now as he's on the outside.
Well, Hornish is up in fourth position as we're working on lap 77 here at Chicagoland with Adrian Fernandez out in front. Many touches here this afternoon to not have that first yellow.
Right. And right now, Ed Carpenter, who's a lap down, still racing. He was, remember, at the first of the race, he was up there in the top 5 racing with these guys. But during that pit stop, somehow he got left in the dust, and now he's a lap down. But he's still running almost the same speed as everybody else.
There's Schechter on the high side of Hornish. He clears Hornish, so he goes around him for 5th position. And here is a battle up in front. Here comes Rice. Rice in 2nd position, going for the lead on lap 82, and he got him.
Look at this. Weldon goes clear to the outside. He may go around both of them. It appears that the middle groove is not the groove to be in when you go through a corner like that, because that guy's, he can get bumped from either side. That time he came out in 2nd. Weldon had to drop back to 3rd. But a lot of times you'll see the guy in the middle is the guy that loses out on something like that.
Well, Vito Mira had been challenging for the lead. Right now he's trying to hang on to 4th. Here comes Schechter on the high side. Your leader again is Fernandez. Rice led one lap, lap 82, and then Fernandez jumped back out in front.
And see, these guys are all right now going to school. They're trying to learn what they have to do in order to pass somebody come the last race or the last few laps of the race. They're all putting this in their memory bank. What's going to happen the last 25 laps?
Schechter got.
Yeah, he got a good run, but he didn't go out there and go around him. He didn't have enough room. Didn't have enough room to go out there. So, but they're all putting this in their memory bank. What they have to do, where they have to be, outside, inside, what kind of a run they've got to get in order to pass people going into those last few laps.
And keep in mind, Schechter has some competition down there and some company in the form of that #1 target car for Dixon. Dixon, amazingly, after winning the championship last season, has only led 3 laps this year.
And quite honestly, this is the best we've seen him run for quite some time. He's now in the top 5 and he really has not been competitive for most of the season for whatever reason. He's been very, very disappointing.
You talk about the guys going to school on the other drivers, but realistically, a change of tires could totally change the setup of that race car.
Oh, yeah.
So the race car they have right now may not be the same race car they have that they can run it like this late in the race.
Well, that's right.
Look at Mira. Mira has gone from 4th, 5th, up to 2nd.
And he was down in the dust. He was so low that last corner that he got a little dust thrown up on the racetrack.
Passed by his teammate.
Right. Caution flag.
Oh, the first caution. On lap 87, we've got a first caution for debris.
Wow. I bet those guys are happy to slow down and take a breath here, which they haven't been able to do for the first 87 laps of this race. Wow.
So to recap, Tony Kanaan started outside the front row, led the first 44 laps before Buddy Rice led for 1 circuit. Then Weldon jumped out in front on lap 46, led for 6 laps, and we started making those green flag pit stops. Matsura led for a lap, then Herta led for a lap. Matsura then got back out in front for a couple laps. Fernandez took the lead. Then Mira led lap 66. Then it was Fernandez again. Rice led, then Fernandez. It's going to be a quick yellow for that debris pickup.
There's a piece of debris down in turn number 1, so they're stopping to pick that up right now. Not sure what it was, but it was significant enough that they thought they ought to get it off of the racetrack, and that's all that important. Of course, you run over something and blow a tire at these speeds, you're toast. You're in the wall, and somebody gets hurt, so there's no sense doing that.
7 different leaders today. Kanaan, Rice, Weldon, Matsura, Herta, Fernandez, and Mira. The pits are open. A little early for the pit window,
but they will make a pit stop. They can't afford. They can only run another 13 or 14 laps. They cannot. I don't think they can afford to stay out there and take that chance, because you've gone 87 laps without a yellow, so you can't afford to stay out there and take that chance.
So the first round of pit stops came under green. They'll all make the pit stop here under yellow. And you know, no matter what discipline of racing you like, Larry, if you like competition, you have to like this type of racing, because where else you're going to see this many lead changes this early on. We've not even reached the halfway point.
Once again, very critical for the crews to do their job, the drivers to do their job, get out of the pits in good fashion. They had a trouble there. The air jacks didn't work. They had to put the hand air jacks under. So Fernandez is going to lose lots and lots of track position. The air jack failed. Either the actual hose that plugged in failed, something failed, and he did not get jacked up. They had to use the manual jacks to get him up. Now then they're having all kinds of trouble.
Around and he stalled it. No,
I thought he killed the engine, but
go back to the old-fashioned way of changing tires.
Yeah, and that may be the answer to their pit stop problems. If they do the old-fashioned way, Barron's got trouble as he's had to go back. He's killed the engine. Wow.
So, yeah, it's a good point, Larry. With all the activity that we've seen over the past few races, they may mandate going back to that style.
Right. If you put him up in the air and leave him on manual, he lost the wheel. Did not kill the engine. He lost the left rear wheel, so they had to go back in. So
they got to find the fire to get him back out there. So Rice will be your new leader.
As long as he doesn't lose a lap, it doesn't matter. And there's Fernandez. Let's see, there he is up on the manual jacks. You can see that thing rocking back and forth a little bit. Oops, they don't have the left rear on it yet. After he got him up on the manual jacks, they still had trouble getting the left rear on, so he lost even more ground. So, all kinds of problems there.
There's Weldon comes out, and
wow,
they almost a drag race for the line.
Yeah, lots of them came out almost at the same time. Dixon, Mira, Kanaan, Schechter came out in 6th, Hornish in 7th. So Buddy Rice beat that group out, though. He is the leader right now.
So you look at Fernandez, who will resume this competition when they go back to green flag racing in the 19th position. Live coverage continues, still under yellow. Weldon will have the point on the restart as they work on lap 93.
Yeah, they had an excellent pit stop. Actually, almost everybody had a good pit stop. There were no bad pit stops other than Fernandez that time and Alex Barron. They had the 2 lousy pit stops, and it cost both of them dearly. Everybody else did a fairly good job. Even Foyt came back out just about where he went in, so they must have had a much better pit stop this time than they did last time.
And that first pit stop for AJ under green was disastrous, because he went from about 7th position and came back in 18th position.
Yeah, that was not good, and it did cost him a lot of track position, and track position is extremely important.
Well, there's second place. Started 3rd, currently is 2nd. He's 3rd in the point standings. 3 wins so far this season. There's a look at Scott Dixon, last year's overall champion. But boy, I'll tell you what, he has had a miserable season.
Got green flag next time around. They're getting 1 to go this time by. So Tony Kanaan hanging right in there, just doing exactly what he's done all year long and what he needs to do to win the championship. Hang in the top spots.
There's Vito Mira having a good ride. Started back in 8th position. He'll restart in 5th. He actually led back on lap 66 for 1 lap.
There's Scheckter, who started dead last and has been challenging up there for the lead ever since about lap 30.
I think I mentioned he was worth the price of admission to watch him in the back of the pack, and so far he has been. It's kind of fun to ride along on board with him. Here is the restart now as they complete lap 94.
Looks like Scheckter did not get a good restart. Everybody else up front did, and looks like he's got cars going on both sides of him. And look at Rice to the outside.
Side by side for the lead. Rice up high, Weldon down low, and Weldon hangs on.
Schecter's had trouble again, as we said he didn't get a very good restart, but he's just not, the car's not running as it's falling way back.
Weldon continues to lead. He has Rice all over his rear wing. And then Dixon in third position. Here's Rice again on the high side.
Well, it's great to see Scott Dixon up there running with the front runners again. As we've documented, he's had trouble all season long. But here on this racetrack, he seems very strong. I think part of that is the new Toyota engine that's much stronger. And part of it's just probably him wanting to get...
He's hungry.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's very hungry. I think he's very disappointed. He puts on the happy face all the time, but I know he's very disappointed with this season so far.
That green and white nose stuck up there. That's Kanaan working on him for third position. There was some talk this season that Dixon might be going off to Formula One. He's had a couple of tests, but I think he'll be back in the IRL next season. Up in front here is the battle for the lead as Rice noses out in front.
Yeah, Rice led that lap. Whether he can maintain it or not is something else. As we see Hornish on the outside trying to go 3 abreast out there outside Kanaan, thinks better of it and falls in behind him.
So still a great battle up in front. They ride side by side, nose to tail on lap 98 as we approach the halfway point. You look over at Rice or at Dixon. Dixon has Weldon right in front of him. Rice is still out in front, but here comes Weldon to the inside.
Oh, look at Hornish. He went
look
to the
at
outside.
Hornish on the high side.
Hornish went to the outside of both of them. I told you before that man in the middle sometimes is the loser on that because the air gets taken away from him on all sides. And that time Kanaan was the loser. He had guys on both sides, and he kind of lost the air and had to get out of the throttle a little bit and fell back.
Well, so that lap, Weldon leads it.
Rice is still out there just riding alongside. Now Hornish follows Rice.
I'm not sure I'd call that just riding along.
Well, no, that's yeah.
You don't have to hold your breath when you're just riding along.
And look at Scheckter after that miserable restart. We thought maybe something was wrong with the engine. I don't know whether he missed a shift or he was in the wrong gear when the green flag fell or what, but all of a sudden
he's back up in the mix now.
Boy, he certainly is.
Back up in 5th position, going for 4th.
And just trying to figure out which line is going to move forward. He was on the outside, he moved down to the inside. Now he's running right in the middle, splitting the difference.
There's Kanaan back in 6th position. Manning is 7th.
Now he chooses the outside.
Side by side. It looks like that face lap again. Here comes Hornish on the high side, making it 3 wide. Way up there in the gray stuff.
Well, I think you said earlier, Hornish is the only guy besides Scheckter that likes that third groove on the outside. He tried it once again right there. Oh!
Scheckter goes higher, and who's that way out there?
Well, I don't know.
No, that's
might have been Bell.
Bell was way out there.
And he was almost against the wall and still didn't hit the fence. Usually you get that high, you
gray matter, and you're right up there. You get the marbles.
You're toast. You're in the fence, but he held on to it somehow.
Look at this. We've passed the halfway mark, and it's back and forth between Rice and Weldon, exchanging the lead almost every lap. Look at this, side by side. You talk about that 200-mile-an-hour pace lap.
And look at Scott Sharp. Scott Sharp is running back there in 8th spot. This is one of the few times we've seen him look racy all year long. He hasn't been competitive hardly all year long, and all of a sudden he's running right up front.
Top 13, 9/10 of a second.
Well, and that's just because they can't get any closer than 9/10 of a second on the racetrack. Look at that. Unless they're running 3 abreast, there got to be that much space back there. Wow.
Your A.J. Foyt fans, he's back in 16th position. Franchitti is back in Foyt just went around Franchitti. He's in 15th. Franchitti is 16th.
There's Fernandez.
Giafone is back in 13th.
Fernandez still back in 19th. He has not gained any spots. You know, that's what the problem is. Once you lose track position on this racetrack, although Schechter's proved us wrong, he's passed a lot of guys here today, but a lot of times it's tough to work your way back up.
Oh, we just got a report back from Fernandez pit that pneumatic lift they have, gone. It's manual the rest of the race.
Wow.
So that'll be a throwback to years gone by.
I thought maybe it was a hose or something in the valve from the air that lifts him, but obviously it's a mechanical malfunction on the race car itself.
That's somebody else almost in the fence right there.
Look at Scott Sharp and Mark Taylor right up there in the hunt. Look at Mark Taylor. He's going to stick his nose right between those guys.
Make it work.
Wow.
And down the right side, the left side there, that red car was Lazier, who won this race 3 years ago. He's back in 11th position. That's actually the best run for that team in a number of races.
Well, Mark Taylor took a huge chance right there.
Sharp going by Mira for 8th. There's a lot of question over whether Kelly Racing will come back next year. There's Foyt all over the rear of Mira. So Foyt's getting racy again.
Yeah,
he's up to 12.
That's right. He's all of a sudden right back up there in the hunt, racing with the guys that have been leading the race.
Did Grandpa put his Texas boot in his rear or what?
Oh, I don't know. He can't complain too much. It was his pit crew that put him back there in the first place.
Right.
So, what?
We've seen some drives here this afternoon from guys that we haven't seen. Sharp has been the most competitive. Dixon has been the most competitive. Townsend Bell, A.J. Foyt.
Right. All these guys, haven't been very competitive all year long.
Giafone, he's in 13th. That doesn't sound like much, but he's less than a second behind the leader.
Yeah, he's right in the hunt, right in with the.
He's with the big dogs.
The big dogs, the tall dogs, walking with the tall dogs. That's right.
Scott Dixon presently in 3rd position. That is Sam Hornish on his right side. They battle for 3rd. Rice is your leader. Weldon is 2nd. Then Hornish, Dixon, and Schechter is now back up to 5th.
I think Schechter is a little bit quicker than these guys, but he can't get around because these guys are all just running nose to tail. He's got no place to go. He's got to follow them.
Well, he got by 1.
Yeah, Buddy Rice took the lead that time.
Now he's tucked in behind Hornish as Hornish goes to the high side of Weldon. Rice is out in front.
Well, we'll see if they fall in behind each other.
Well, we knew, Eddie Carpenter, who is, he was on the lead lap.
Yeah. Well, he had to make a pit stop. He didn't come in the last time. He's run 57 laps. He stayed out because he was a lap down. He took the chance. He stayed out, hoping that a yellow flag would come out. And here it comes out. Townsend
Bell finally got the fence after riding so high.
Tough break for Eddie Carpenter. One more lap and he would have gotten his lap back and been okay. Tough break.
Second yellow of the day, and he's going to try to drive her off the racetrack. No, I think he's just coasting off the racetrack.
He's got no control at this point. That thing's going wherever it wants. But remember we just said he got way up in the marbles, didn't know how he saved it, didn't see how he got up there this time, but obviously hit the wall with the right side of the race car, just slid along the wall. He's moving around in the cockpit. That's always a good sign.
Only our second yellow of the afternoon. The first was for debris that lasted for some 7 laps. That's when they made their second pit stop of the afternoon. You see Townsend is okay, so we're on lap 112 under yellow with Rice out in front of Weldon, Hornish, Schechter, Dixon, Taylor, Kanaan. Foyt now is back up to 8th position. Came out on lap 112. We're on 113. Make that 115 now, and that's the look at the rescue effort as the Townsend Bell climbed out uninjured. The car sustaining right side damage as it pancaked the wall. And our second yellow of the afternoon. Now the question is, will they make the pit stop? These leaders have gone 25 laps since their last stop. And I guess this is going to answer our question.
I think they all will. They can't afford not to make a pit stop. The only people that can afford not to make a pit stop might be Fernandez, who might stay out, take a chance on getting back up front, or somebody near the back of the pack. Fernandez might stay out, although I see him coming in. So it looks like almost everybody is going to make a pit stop now. Carpenter's, he stayed out, obviously. He's going to get one of his laps back, but, he just pitted 1 lap too soon, that's all.
Well, that's the luck of the game.
Yep, that's the luck of the game. Looks like everybody getting pretty good pit stops. No huge problems there.
Boy, Tony Kanaan, though, lost a bunch of positions, and there's the manual jack, and I thought he stalled the engine. Tony Kanaan went in 7th, and we'll see how this shakes out as the leaders start to go back into position in the backstretch.
Well, he came back out pretty much where he went in. Looks like he might even gained a spot. So he did gain a spot. So he didn't come out so bad. This is Matsura. He's obviously got some engine problems.
Cowling's off the race car, so there's a look at Townsend Bell's car, and here's what happened. On the high side, and he just ran out of room. He had no place to go.
Just absolutely no room. He tried to go in above Scott Sharp on the outside. Scott Sharp, well, here you'll get a better idea. As they're going onto the back straightaway, they come through this corner. They're going to come onto the back straightaway. He's going to try to sneak on the outside of Sharp going in to turn number 3. Sharp looks like he's got enough room. Sharp just keeps coming up the racetrack a little bit. And he hit the fence. It wasn't a very hard hit because he was already against the fence.
That's one of those deals where you really can't blame Scott Sharp because he was sticking his nose up there where it shouldn't have been.
Well, he didn't
have enough room to pull that off.
Unfortunately, in a race like this, sometimes you have to do that. I mean, you have to take a chance in order to move up. We took a look there at Giafoni, who is having a pretty good run, and he's actually leading the race right now because he did not make a pit stop. He and Franchitti and Herta. Remember I said there were some guys who might not make a pit stop and get track position? Well, Giafoni, Franchitti, and Herta, they were all running near the back of the pack, so they elected to stay out. Now, after the green flag drops, they can run about probably 30 more laps. So it'll be interesting to see because if there's another yellow in the next 30 laps, then this was a great gamble, paid off big time for them. If there's not, then they're going to fall back to the back of the pack and lose a lap. So we'll just have to see how things play out. They really had nothing to lose. They were near the back of the pack anyway.
Well, there's Giafoni, his best finish at 9th at Texas. And as we had talked about earlier in the race, he was told to step it up or they'd put somebody else in the car for the next outing at California at Fontana. He's trying to step it up. He's leading for the first time this season.
Right. And Fernandez, not Fernandez, but Franchitti, he was running near the back of the pack. He was about 17th, 18th. He was at the back of the pack. And Herta, I think he was 19th.
So we've seen what pit stops have done for this Andretti Green team because it's won a couple of races for Dan Weldon. And right now they got Franchitti up in 2nd position on pit strategy. Tell you what, there were a lot of question marks, Larry, when it was announced that Michael Andretti was going to have his own team. I mean, he'd been a very successful driver, yet he had the temperament to be a team owner. We've seen a total transformation in Michael Andretti. And I tell you what, those guys have their act together. They're doing it back in the shop in Indianapolis. They're doing it on the racetrack, and they're doing it in the pit area.
Well, there's no question about it. He has put together a team that is a complete team. They operate together extremely well. Probably the drivers get along as well as any team I've ever seen in any kind of racing anywhere. I mean, these guys really get along with each other, and this doesn't seem to be a lot of problems there unless there's something that we're not aware of. But it's been a great season for them so far, and we'll see if they can continue that.
The talk of next year, of course, the fact we have 3 road races. First time in the history of the Indy Racing League they've gone road racing. Unfortunately, that road race test they had scheduled for Homestead over the first weekend in September was washed out because of the hurricane that came through Florida. So that has been rescheduled for later in September as they come back up to speed for the restart. And Giafoni will have Franchitti all over his rear wing. And look at this, Franchitti. Look at this, 3 wide at the back of the pack. What was that reference early on about the bumblebees?
Yeah, look at this.
Now,
Scheckter went to the outside. Looked like he was going 3 wide again, and again gained a couple of spots. Now look at this. Herta, Giafoni on the outside, Franchitti on the inside. And here comes Buddy Rice around Herta. Weldon in tow.
Franchitti will be the 9th different leader of the day. Look at this. Look at Rice is going to take the lead now.
Weldon.
Franchitti led 1 lap.
Yeah, Giafoni and Franchitti just didn't look like they were even in the same race. Once those guys got a little run on them with a little draft. Now look at Weldon. He goes to the outside of Rice. He wants the lead.
Weldon has led a number of laps here this afternoon. Look at this. Hornish is right back there in third position.
Hornish obviously loves this racetrack. He's won the last 2 races here. He's always very quick here. He knows the ins and outs.
Oh, almost contact right there for the guys in second and third in the point standings. They can't afford to take themselves out, or Kanaan will win this championship.
Well, it looked like, it looked like Rice moved up, and looked like Weldon was moving down at the same time. Obviously, no contact made, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, but at that point, Hornish is saying, oh, no, here we go again.
Yeah, right.
He's been caught up in so many altercations this season. And look at Schechter on the high side. He's back there in 8th position in that bright yellow car.
Still trying to use that. And that's Jacques Lazier running right there with him. So Jacques Lazier also having a great run in his Chevrolet.
Well, Barron's back there, and he's a lap off the pace. He's up there with the big dogs right now, a lap back.
Yeah, he's
the Lazier in that red number 20. Lazier, who won this race 3 years ago. Lazier now back in 7th position, the best ride for this team all season. This is a team that Al Unser had driven for, and there's Matsura, who we saw had the cowling off the car a few laps ago. There has been some talk, speaking of Al Jr., that he might start his own race team for next season. Yeah,
there's been some talk of that. No, nothing confirmed, no sponsorships yet, but he would like very much to get in the ownership position, as it looks like Schechter back there is just having all kinds of trouble with lap traffic of Barron, and it's cost him a few spots so far.
And we take a look at Hornish there as Kanaan goes by for a position. And here comes Giafone.
Yeah, Giafone real racy since he got that up front starting position.
Working on lap 125. Matsura coasting back to his pit area.
Yeah, I think he's
11 laps behind this lead pack.
Yeah, he's probably going to be done for the day, as Weldon right now just kind of going to school, trying to figure out exactly what it takes when you're out there running in the front in order to make a pass. He's got no help, drafting help right now, which I think it's going to be difficult to make a pass out there unless you get somebody back there that kind of gives you a little push.
And look at Franchitti. A little unscheduled pit stop for Franchitti.
Yeah, I think he figured out. He went back very quickly. He went backwards very quickly. He was already back to like 15th or 16th spot. So he was going nowhere. Whatever his problem is, looks
it had been 36 laps, but he still had some laps to go before his schedule.
Yeah, there's another problem. He's obviously handling so poorly.
Tires are not even out, so now the day is over for him.
Yeah. He just he's going to get out of the car and say that's enough for me today.
2-time winner this season, driving for Andretti Green, and his day is over.
Well, tough break for him, but what it looked, once he started up front, he went from first to 17th in about 3 laps. There wasn't much question that he had a problem of some sort. Not sure what it is. Maybe we'll find out, but definitely has a problem.
Well, Rice is leading this thing over Weldon, but Tony Kanaan right now is back in 3rd, and that's all he needs to do race after race to win this championship.
Yeah, sure is. And those top 2 guys have actually pulled out to a few car lengths lead over the other.
The biggest lead we've seen all afternoon.
Yeah, not used to seeing 2 cars with a 3 or 4 car lengths lead, and nobody's running side by side in the first 6 or 7 cars right now.
Well, since this restart, A.J. Foyt has picked up 4 positions. He is up to 11th right now.
So a lot of guys. Kanaan's picked up 7, so he's picked up more than anybody else. Dixon hanging right in there, and that's good for him.
See Manning going by the high side of Foyt. And that's a battle for 11th. And Castro Neves just has not had the kind of season you'd expect from this man.
No, he's really struggled. Ooh,
some contact, maybe some slight contact.
He's in the wall. He's riding along the wall. He got into the fence. The right front tires.
And Schechter is also involved. Did he get her stopped? Yeah, he got her stopped. Lazier and Schechter on lap 139.
They were running side by side. Obviously, some contact was made between those 2 guys.
So let's see what the reaction is. Schechter climbs out and makes no real concerted effort to walk back to the other car. Now he walks up toward
I'm
Lazier.
sure he's
saying, how's the wife and kids?
Yeah, exactly.
How about a barbecue and a beer when this thing's over? And he's trying to explain what he saw from his angle, and Lazier says, nuts to you.
Yeah, they're both
like that.
Looks like they're not very happy with each other, but maybe we'll get a replay and see exactly what happened.
Well, that's Vito Mir on the inside. There's contact with Vito Mir to begin with. And more contact.
Oh, boy. Oh, Schechter was following him, and it looked like when the contact was made, he just got caught in the air or something.
There's some initial contact.
Yeah. Boy.
It's a second contact.
That's contact with Mira. And see, the air is so important here. The air sucked him right into the wall, the same as Zier did.
There's initial contact here.
Yep. See, once they make that contact.
That's the second contact. We
see right there. Once he was in that airstream, and he just got sucked up into the wall. They hit exactly in the same position. He's telling Jacques Lazier he's a dummy for running into Mira, and you caught me up in the thing and stuck me right into the wall with you. So obviously Jacques doesn't think it was his fault, but again, something. Let's go down to Townsend Bell.
He's okay, but Townsend, what happened in your scenario?
Just Scott Sharp again. I mean, it's his second race at Nazareth. He was 2 laps down. His spotter told me he was going to let me by. Steve and my spotter told me to go by. Then he turned in. We're out of the race. Here, going down the back straightaway, had a run, went to the outside. He just moved up right as I was next to him. I have nowhere to go, and just ended our day. I mean, this is a long race, and guys start blocking. I mean, Tommy just went out because 2 guys were being stupid. This track's 5 lanes wide, and why 2 cars can't get down a back straightaway together is beyond me.
Emotions are running high. Dr. Punch?
Let's go to Franchitti now.
Going in the ARCA X card, and I heard you say gearbox. What happened?
Yeah, we've just basically lost the gearbox under yellow, if you can believe that. I don't know how that happened, but I feel bad because the car actually wasn't that bad. We got shuffled back a bit, and then you get back with all the idiots who were trying to wheel bang and all sorts of stuff. But you know, I feel bad. The ARCA X car wasn't too bad, and probably a top 5 car. It's a hometown for a lot of our sponsors, and we wanted to do a good showing today. But again, gearbox problems, you know, under yellow. I don't know how this gearbox is going to survive a road course. But it's not the strongest part of the car, put it that way.
A lot of frustration down here. You heard the pit stops a moment ago. Brian Herta in both Penske cars on pit road, guys, here at lap 133.
You know,
Randy Orton
has made a pit stop. Probably will have to make another. We'll have to make another more than likely, but we'll see. He's one of those guys that we talked about before that likes that third groove out there. He'll go any place on a racetrack if he can pass a race car.
Right now, Vito Mira hangs her high on the outside of Dixon.
Now you notice how the first 5 cars who did not make a pit stop pulled away. That little,
they're light.
Yeah, they're lighter. The weight, just one little bit of weight, maybe 40, 50 pounds of weight makes that much difference on a takeoff, on a restart like that. Huge, huge difference.
Tony Kanaan kind of split the difference there between the 2 leaders. Look how high up on the racetrack Weldon is. He gave the line inside to Tony Kanaan, but Kanaan didn't take it. And we have more debris on the racetrack, maybe from that accident.
Oh, looks like Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor looked at right front wing.
Contact with somebody.
Yeah, Mark Taylor ran into the back of somebody, and a piece of his wing has come off. You can see the wing there. He's going to have to come in and change that. He's taken a lot of chances in this race. Looks like he took one too many. Boy, he looks like he ran right up the back end of somebody with the nose. There's rubber right on the yellow part of the nose.
Well, he tried to occupy the same space as somebody else already had.
Exactly. So, not a good thing. He's going to have to come in, and he can't run that car like that aerodynamically on this racetrack. It just absolutely will not work.
It won't handle it all.
No. So he's going to have to come in.
A downforce in the right front.
Yeah, you can see there's pieces of the wing already.
Shards of fiberglass out there.
On the racetrack. They're in there to get all that picked up.
This is the Access Motorsports. Let's see if we can see what happened, where he is on
him on the lower left of the screen. A.J. Foyt right in front of him. Yep. It's just
A.J. a little nerve.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much excuse for that. I mean, all you have to do is lift out of the throttle and run into him.
I want to hear from Schechter if we can. This might be interesting to see what Thomas Schechter has to say.
just a lot of wheel banging. I'm not surprised that it didn't happen before, and two guys in front of me were getting pretty tough, and I think, I don't want to blame anybody, but I like to look at the onboard footage, but it looks just Lazier touched Mira, and once I got up in the dirty air, there was nothing I could do. I just followed him all the way up.
I know earlier today in the drivers' meeting you guys were warned not to go 3 wide, and you were out there going 3 wide, but it's tough not to, right?
Well, when we had to change an engine for qualifying, so 20 seconds, so I had a lot of work to do, and that's the way you have to get by people, is go 3 wide, and I just have to thank Chevrolet and Pennzoil and, apologize, and, hopefully we get it back together for the last 2 races.
All right, Thomas Scheckter, we'll see him back in California and Fontana. Guys?
Had a chance to reflect on what happened, was cool with it.
Just amazing to me how that airstream, it's almost as if you had a tow rope on there and he pulled him into the fence in exactly the same spot. That airstream is so significant and so strong that Thomas Scheckter had no steering and just got sucked right in that same airstream.
Look at this. The pits are open, so that gamble's going to play off for Rice, Weldon, Kanaan, Hornish.
Yeah, it did, because everybody else is coming in too, because now they can go to the end. With this pit stop, most of them, almost all of them, can go to the end without a pit stop.
Rice very quick. The Ray Hall Letterman team has him serviced in 8 seconds.
Oh, Weldon
got out before Kanaan.
Oh, looks like his pit crew member got hurt. See him kind of stumbling there?
Off to the side.
Yeah, I thought he might have got hit there. Maybe not.
The Penske cars took fuel only. That's not a surprise because they made that pit stop earlier.
Well, to put them up in front, first and second. They just put on tires. They only ran about 2 laps, so they had no reason to change tires. So they did the smart thing. Manning and Dixon, they might have done the same thing because they moved up as well.
So far today, 9 different leaders. We show Hornish is out in front. That's going to be the 10th different leader this afternoon.
Wow, this will be interesting now because those 2 guys being up front. Fernandez, remember we said he probably could go to the end.
They've got Hurt up there right now.
Hurt is leading, that's right. He came in a few laps ago. Fernandez, though, I think he can make it. Now with these yellow flags, he was going to have to go 63 laps. So with these yellow flags, he probably can go to the end, and that's what he was counting on. That's the reason he came in and got that splash of fuel right at the very end.
So Herta will be on the point for this restart, then Fernandez, then Hornish, Castro, Evans, Manning, Dixon. As you see them finishing up the right front wing there. Let's watch this replay of Kanaan leaving the pit area.
Watch Weldon coming out there. Yep.
Weldon clipped him.
Yeah, it looked like Weldon might have clipped him just as he came out, just barely clipped him. And that's hurt his ankle there. Not intentional. Obviously, they're on the same team, so he wouldn't do it intentionally. But
so Herta is the only member of this Andretti Green team that has yet to win this season. Could this be his day in the sun?
Well, I don't know that he can make it to the end. I don't know. Maybe he can, but it's going to be a stretch for him to make it to the end without a pit stop. Fernandez, he came in and topped off right there, so he's got about 2 laps farther that he can go than Herta.
Actually 4 more than Herta right now.
Well, but they were on those 4 yellow flag laps, so it's only 2 green flag laps basically that he can go farther than Herta.
Well, he's going to have to go 55, about 67 laps, meaning Herta, on this tank of fuel. But that's his only shot to win this thing.
Right. And I don't know whether he can. That's pretty much a stretch, even with the yellow flags. If there's another yellow flag, then maybe he can. But even with these yellow flag laps, I don't know. It's going to be difficult.
You know, this young man has to be hungry. He actually won a race for Andretti Green last year as driving as a substitute for Franchitti. There's a look at Michael. And seeing his teammates win, he has to be a bit hungry to get to victory lane.
Yeah, it's got to be a bit disconcerting, to say the least. If everybody's won on your team but you question yourself, you question all sorts of things. But I'm sure that Michael Andretti, whoa, look at this. Well, Fernandez almost got in the fence as he tried to go around Carpenter right there. Carpenter's a lap down, lapped car.
3 wide for a while there.
You can see Weldon already around Dixon, yes. Weldon was the first guy to take tires. All these other guys did not take tires, I don't believe. Now then he's moved up and he's looks like he's making a move on Manning.
Look at this, 3 wide again. Weldon on the high side.
Wow, Weldon's pretty quick.
Pretty gutsy up there.
Yeah, he sure is. As you heard Jamie Little say they were told in the drivers' meeting not to go 3 wide, but there's been a lot of guys doing that. And look at Fernandez trying to get the lead from Brian Herta.
Well, this would be Herta's first win of the season. Could be Fernandez's second win if he could pull it off here, but still some 52 laps to go. They don't make contact right there.
Well, I tell you what, you're running so close. The slightest little mistake can be a disaster. That's why it's so amazing to see these guys run like that lap after lap. Now then Hornish goes to the outside to try to follow Fernandez, and Castroneves right behind him.
Give Fernandez a push right here. He doesn't get caught up in a crash with the 2 guys in front of him.
Or he might get a little suction.
Oh,
I was going to say.
What happened there? Look at this. 3 wide back there for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Right now, Dan Weldon appears to be the fastest guy on the racetrack, because he just went to the outside once again. Now he goes to the outside of Hornish. Oh, man.
Is he going to make it stick? He's going to make it work up there.
He's made it work so far. Look at this. Hurt on the inside.
Well, with all this, your leader starts to pull away.
Wow, Weldon took a big chance right there as he pulled back down in front of Hornish.
Look at Rice way up there, too. Rice was trying to get around Kanaan on the high side. Now here comes Vito Mira on the inside of Kanaan. Kanaan's back in 7th position.
Boy, these guys are taking some chances.
What kind of move was that?
Well, these things can move around on you quite a bit. That we've seen how important that air plays, what importance it plays. It can
look
really
at this, 3 wide for the lead.
Oh, and that's his teammate up there. Looked like he got moved up the racetrack. I thought he had lost control, but he did not. He kept it under control. But wow, Fernandez went to the bottom, got around those guys, and Herta playing tag up there with his roommate.
Well, right now it's 14 cars on the lead lap.
And look at Mira. He's clear on the inside.
Mira's going to make it 3 wide. Fernandez still up in front. Herta rides in 2nd. Weldon 3rd. Then Hornish. Then Manning. Mira is 6th. Then Castroneves. Kanaan all the way back in 8th. Then Rice and Dixon. So Rice got shuffled back. Kanaan got shuffled back.
Look at this. Manning goes to the outside.
Well, we have 47 laps to go, and it looks like a sprint car shootout.
Wow, 4 abreast.
With all these laps yet to go, it looks like a trophy dash on a short track Saturday night racing program.
Hornish was the 4th man on the outside, and look at Vito Mira. Vito Mira's just been a rocket ship the last couple of laps, and he's now on the outside of Herta.
He's hungry to pick up a win. He's had 2 second-place finishes this season. Had 1 pole position, but has yet to find victory lane. Looked like he was on his way a couple times. Look how close they got.
Wow. So much of that going on. So many close calls.
Well, and so much contact. Not just close calls, actual contact wheel to wheel on the racetrack. We've only had a couple of crashes.
And you heard right there, Kanaan had to lift just for a fraction. And when he did, it just like Manning was on a bullet on the outside of him.
Well, right now, there is less than 0.8 of a second between 1st and 10th. And we've gone 3 quarters away and 2 cars involved. That's 13 and 14.
That's
so
Taylor and Foyt.
Young A.J. Foyt got tangled up. So our 5th yellow of the afternoon.
Well, remember, that's Taylor got into Foyt earlier. And quite honestly, he just nailed Foyt a little earlier. Now he's mad. He's throwing stuff around out there. But
who threw the wheel?
That was Taylor.
Oh, what a great ride for AJ, though.
Yeah, he had a great run going.
His stock just went up this afternoon.
Yep.
The entire weekend has elevated his stock as a race driver here in the Indy Racing League. Our live coverage continues from Chicagoland, our 5th yellow of the afternoon. There you see one of the tires off of one of the cars involved in this 2-car collision. As the extrication continues for Mark Taylor, A.J. Foyt climbed out on his own to survey the damage.
Yeah, they're running the cars through the pit lane now because of all the damage on the front straightaway. You can see him picking up the pieces. A.J. Foyt's okay. Mark Taylor's still in the race car. Here they come off the racetrack. Oops.
Got up into it.
Yeah,
apparently.
looked like AJ just moved up the racetrack a little bit too far. And when he did, Mark Taylor was there. So it looked like he just lost the front end and couldn't steer the thing. And he just took Mark Taylor into the wall with him. You can see right here, he just keeps coming up and coming up. And finally, the right rear caught the left front of Mark Taylor. So tough break for AJ Foyt, who had a great run going. But a lot of fire going into Taylor's car.
Let's watch it again from this angle.
You can see the safer barrier helped a lot there. They didn't hit real hard.
But look at all the shards of fiberglass.
Yeah, lots of fiberglass.
This will be a lengthy cleanup, which will make it possible for all these guys to make it to the end.
I think Herta will even make it to the end now. And track position is so important. He has an excellent chance. He's running in second. He has an excellent chance to win this race, where he didn't have virtually the whole race long.
Probably all make a pit stop here.
I don't think so.
You don't think they'll stop here?
No.
Well, so Fernandez will lead on to restart under our 5th yellow of the afternoon here at Chicagoland.
Because we've just seen it was quite an accident. Mark Taylor and AJ Foyt, the two drivers involved. Chris, what did you make of that? Because that looked potentially to be a really quite nasty incident.
Yes, it did, and it looked pretty much as though it was poor AJ Jr.'s fault. He just appeared to lose it. Then he cut across Mark's nose, and once they get into each other at those sort of speeds, they're over 210 miles an hour. There's only one way it's going to end. Mark was somebody threw a steering wheel out of the car, we saw.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big grown-up 210 mile an hour version of the toys out of the pram, isn't it? And I think Mark's right to be upset about it, because it looked avoidable by AJ Jr. We said right at the top of the show that this is his first run. This is the first time he's run for so long, consistently, so fast, surrounded by the experienced guys.
I was about to make the point that both you two guys at the top of the show were surprised that he was where he was on the starting grid, and you really weren't quite sure that he was going to keep that standard going, and you were right, Paul.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the thing. You know, it's at the front of this field, the standard is very, very high. And I have to say, I was looking at him and thinking, you know, the guy is really holding himself up. But, you know, Chris and I were talking earlier, the concentration required to run at over 200 miles an hour for over an hour's worth of racing may just play a small part into it, because, you know, without being rude, normally he's out of the event. So.
Yeah. We were hearing, weren't we, Chris, that from one or two of the interviews earlier, that the drivers were advised not to go 3 wide around here. And, you know, but why? It's a big, wide, fast circuit. Why not?
I'm surprised they said that.
Yes.
And it was Townsend Bell who was saying, you know, we were told that at the driver's briefing, clearly they've been warned not to.
Yes.
But Townsend said, well, hey, look, this can be a 3, even 4 wide circuit.
Yeah.
Townsend talks very well. He's been on this show before he got this ride. And he was very upset about being knocked out. And as he said, look, Thomas, his teammate at Panther Racing, Schechter, has also been taken out in a similar sort of avoidable accident.
Yeah.
But it is down to fatigue and speed and so on at this time. This has been a long race, and it was a long time, lap, what, 90?
Yeah.
Before we had our first yellow.
And also, Paul, when you, in a race like this, when you have to trust so many other drivers to do what you would do, there's one or two there who aren't quite on the level that some of the others are.
Well, as our American commentators were saying, you know, there was a couple of 3 guys in there who are not normally in the mix, and that does make a big, big difference.
OK, let's now go back to the track, and we'll get some reaction then, shall we, to what we've just seen.
Big wreck. Grandpa, what is your perspective? It was a great day coming in here today.
It was a great day, and it was a great day all day long. And, you know, we had that little shunt earlier where they checked up in front of him, and the 51 car got into him, and then the 13 car got into his left rear. Everything looked good. We changed the tires, sent him back out, and he was still running, you know, up in the 212s, 13s, and everything was good. And then I think maybe something broke. These cars are so fragile, they can't stand a little bump at all. And I think something broke on the suspension, because all of a sudden the car just went straight. And the poor boy in the 13 car, he just had nowhere to go. And I'm just glad both of them are all right.
We're going to get a word with Mark Taylor here in a moment. Thank you, AJ. Anthony, great day going. What happened out there? Your grandpa said it looked like something might have broken on the car.
Yeah, we got into a bang-up the few laps before that in turn 1, so right front, left rear. So, I mean, you never know. Something could have happened. Just couldn't. All of a sudden, the car wanted to go up the track, and just unfortunately, the 13 car was there. So we had a good day going, but it ended a little short.
Well, I have to ask you, how do you feel running up there with the big boys? Started 6th today.
it felt good. You know, we were running up there all day and had a good car where we could stay up there. So just unfortunate, but we got to go to California and do the same thing.
Tough break for A.J. Foyt Racing, guys. We're going to get a word with Mark Taylor as soon as he gets released.
So there we go. We are just about to get underway. Once again, the race about to restart. Should be a terrific shootout right to the end of the race. Let's now cross back.
Here they come for the restart. You're right along with Tony Kanaan. Now who has what?
Well, Dan Weldon didn't take long. He moved right to the outside of Brian Herta.
But hasn't made the pass yet. And look at Kanaan going 3 wide. What did you say about not taking a chance? I said the same thing.
3 teammates. Wow.
And Michael Andretti is sprouting gray hair as we talk.
Wow, I did not think we'd see Tony Kanaan make a move like that, but he took a big chance, went 3 wide, couldn't make it work. Now then, Herta goes for the lead as he goes to the outside of Fernandez.
And here comes Weldon right behind him. For Fernandez to be his 2nd win of the year. And look at Kanaan on the inside of Weldon. Weldon has 3. Kanaan has 3 wins. Herta has yet to find victory lane.
Meanwhile, Manning goes around
the high side of Kanaan. And here comes the Penske juggernaut.
Yeah, Harnish went way to the outside again. Couldn't get around his teammate as Scott Dixon moves up a spot.
The only consistent has been, or the constant I should say, is Fernandez leading over Herta and Weldon. Everybody else is scrambling and changing positions. And here comes Herta.
Well, as you
to the high side for the lead.
As you said earlier, he's probably the hungriest of all of the Andretti Green guys. Weldon goes toward the outside, though. Looks like he might have that pass made this time.
Well, Herta led lap 182. But Fernandez is back in front now, and Kanaan back there watching all the action in front of him from his 4th position. Lap 183 now complete.
All that jockeying, all that pushing around, and still the first 4 cars remain exactly as they were.
Fernandez, Herta, Weldon, Kanaan, then it's Manning and Rice.
Here comes Rice. To the outside.
He's gotten around Manning. Now he's trying to set sail to the outside of Kanaan, and they almost make contact.
It is so difficult to make a pass because once you pull out from behind that guy, oh man,
contact again. If they take each other out, this is a great chance for Weldon to close the gap.
Yeah, Buddy Rice is probably talking to himself right now, as I'm sure he didn't.
I think Kanaan's probably talking to him as well.
Now then he goes to the inside of Kanaan. Oh, they make contact again.
Wow. I mean, they almost took each other out, which would really tighten up the points championship.
Wow, that's right. Manning got to the inside.
Oh, here it goes.
Buddy Rice.
Buddy Rice upside down, sliding upside down the backstretch. Buddy Rice on the roll bar, our 6th yellow of the afternoon. And this could mean, well, they could end this under yellow.
Look at this.
Take Rice out, and before the car stops, the crew is there.
The safety crew at the race car before it even stopped on the racetrack.
There's Darren Manning.
Obviously, the other car involved in that incident.
Now, did Kanaan get involved or get any damage?
Remember, those guys all running there together, very, very close together.
Bobby Rahal, the crew, looking at the monitor. They're looking at what we're looking at.
A lot of concern, obviously. That's Rice's dad. He's that's Scott Remke, the team manager, on the scooter. All of them concerned about exactly what happened.
Buddy Rice, of course, they're trying to get enough personnel to roll the car back over. They've talked to him.
There goes his dad heading back to the medical center, I'm sure, is where he's going to go, because he knows that's the first place they'll take him once he gets out of the race car.
They've obviously checked with him in the cockpit before rolling that car back over.
Darren Manning out of the car. He's okay standing up.
The word is that Buddy Rice is okay. Darren Manning is out with his helmet off. They're trying very, very gingerly.
That's good news.
Car back over before taking him out. So it is good news. The car held up.
you hate to say anything when you see something like that, but was not a violent flip. Anything
spectacular, but
it was
not
spectacular, but not violent. He went up, he got up over a wheel. As we've talked about so many times, these open wheel cars, when you're running that close, you touch wheels, you stand the chance of riding over the wheel. That's what happened. He got the front end up in the air, took off like an airplane, and just sailed over backwards. And there you see him out of the car.
Okay.
So that's great news. Great news for him, see him getting out of that race car. But he just sailed like an airplane, and he came down upside down and slid along the racetrack. We don't even see any. Yeah, you see a few skid marks on the top of his hat. So
we'll watch again. Here's the replay.
Oh, he just got sideways. Came down Manning, and he got together. He got sideways.
See what? You say it wasn't violent, but I wouldn't be in that car.
Well, when he came down, when he came down was the violent part.
Right here. That's a pretty hard hit right there. It came down with the nose first, then it went down the top on the roll bar.
And that's always a concern. You don't know what position he's in. Looks like he just came down. Looks like
Kanan just did get by it. Kanan just did get by it.
Look at that.
And when he looked in his rearview mirror, side view mirror, all he saw was a car upside down flying through the air.
Well, when you talk about Kanan and luck, you're talking about two of exactly. Look at this. He is right in the middle of this thing and barely misses him as he's going in the air.
Almost drove under him.
Yeah.
As he launched that car in the air off of Manning.
Hey, when it's your year, it's your year. Yeah. That's all you can say. Now let's take a look at it.
Watch this.
He comes down right here. You can see as he goes up in the air.
He sees him start to go, and he's on by.
Wow. He missed it by about 2 feet.
Now let's watch from Manning's car. He comes down. Here's the contact. Wheel to wheel. Boom.
Yeah, Buddy Rice.
Sideways, and the air gets under the car.
Yeah. See, it's got a flat left rear. That's why the car came up in the air. When he made contact with Manning, the left rears went down, and so that right side came up, and that's what let the air get under the car and send him up in the air. Unbelievable, says Chip Ganassi. I agree with you. Unbelievable is right.
Chip Ganassi, the owner of this race team, with Darren Manning and Scott Dixon. They have come so close so many times today. It's wonder we've not seen more of this.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether the air, but it appears that Rice just came down a little bit too far and got Darren Manning. And we're going to try to get an interview with. I guess we're not
going to. So of course both drivers were able to climb out once they got the car righted. Buddy Rice climbed out. He was uninjured. We saw the markings on top of the helmet where he actually got it scuffed up on the track. But he took the ride back to the infield medical care center. Well, he would meet with his dad, who ran back there. Well, there's a look at some of the damage to his car.
We've had 8 cars in the wall today, and that's the most that I remember practically all season long.
Well, all I can say is thank goodness he was right. Quite an astonishing incident. Paul, what did you make of that? Because it happened so quickly, but Darren Manning did well to avoid trouble. But Buddy Rice, how lucky is he?
Well, he didn't really avoid it, did he? Because Buddy went straight over the top of him. But one has to say, firstly, the cars are very sturdy, and fortunately both these guys stepped away from them. And that was a frightening, frightening accident. Big problem there. The car got up, flipped, and the air coming towards it, because the car, even at sideways, was probably still doing 170 miles an hour. And it just hit like a brick, and that just sent it back flying over.
Chris, is there some worry here about the basic design? I mean, these cars can flip and then fly.
Well, I mean, as a former manufacturer, I would say no, there isn't. They're both, the G-Force and the Dallara, are obviously made to the IRL regulations. Following the end of last year's horrible accidents, 2 of them, there was quite a major rethink about the shape of the aero work, and that is the first time we've had one flying. Unfortunate that our trackside commentator used the word took off like an aeroplane, but he did.
Yeah.
That's been a rare, rare accident this year, and the important thing is the car stood up to the impact, and Buddy's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it really was an extraordinary accident, as we've just seen. We can now hear from Darren Manning.
Moments we've seen all year, what was it from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're just running in such close proximity out there, and I don't know if Buddy had to check down on me from the car that was on the outside of him. I thought we were running pretty all right. I mean, the cars just move around so much, and we're running so close, especially at the end of the race there like that. It's just a shame for both of us, really. And just sorry for Buddy. You know, it's not nice having to see the car flip over you like that, but it's glad to see he's all right and I am.
You're okay, 100%?
Yeah, no problem. Buddy seems okay as well.
Great news, guys. Buddy Rice is still inside. Take it away.
All right, we have 6 laps to go as the green flag flies. The fans are on their seats. Some of the folks cheering for Adrian Fernandez.
Yeah, and you can see, look at this. Kanaan got a great start. He got under Weldon. Herta tries to go to the outside of Fernandez. You can bet that Fernandez is going to be right around the inside ring. If anybody wants to go around me, you're going to have to do it on the outside. And look at Mira as he goes by and he moves up a spot. We thought he had troubles. Yeah, he goes around Hornish too, it looks like.
So Mira is on the move.
Very difficult, though. There's so many guys running side by side. It's so difficult to make that move.
Look at this. Hornish all over the rear of Kanaan, but again, he had no place to go. They're all stacked up side by side. Now they go back single file. They complete lap 96. 4 laps to go. You're right with Scott Sharp. It could be Adrian Fernandez's second win of the season.
Well, he's definitely in the driver's seat right now. Everybody else, somebody's got to figure out a way to go around him. So far, it's been very difficult to do. As Mira
out on the inside, actually under that white line, he makes the pass of Dixon. Mira in 7th position.
Well, he and Hornish are the 2 guys who look like they have been able to pass cars so far. Now
are we going to sit up for another closest finish ever?
Well, you know, that's who knows. I mean, anything can happen here as Kanaan has settled into the 3rd spot. Weldon right behind him. And look at Mira. He seems to be maybe the strongest guy on the racetrack right now. Oh, look at that, though. Hornish moved up in front of him.
We'll have 2 laps to go as they cross the line. And there's the gap between 1st and 2nd at 1.18 seconds, I should say, 0.18.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to get up there to challenge him. There's not enough time for Mira to get up there, and Herta seems to have settled back in the 2nd spot.
Coming around for the white flag. Fernandez was victorious at Kansas, or make that Kentucky, going for his 2nd win of the season. Herta trying to win for the first time. Best ride for Herta this year.
Unbelievable. There goes Herta. He goes to the outside. Can he make this work?
What is this one going to be? So Fernandez takes it.
Wow, Fernandez. All of Mexico is screaming and hollering right now. Adrian Fernandez.
72 thousandths of a second. 72 thousandths of a second. The gap between 1st and 2nd, Fernandez. We talked about maybe bringing a 3rd car on board last year. Want to hear from Buddy Rice quickly as we watch Adrian take a victory lap.
Unbelievable. A guy who had broke a jack on the first pit stop.
Upside down. We could see your helmet on the pavement. What was going through your mind at that moment?
I don't know, really. I was just hoping for it to stop. I didn't know at what point I was going to stop at, and what was going on. All I had was sparks and stuff flying right by me the whole time. But once it came to a stop, I mean, the safety crew was there. I mean, I think, well, it was a second or so before I saw the safety guys there. So everything was good on the Delphi side, and obviously the Panos G4s held up.
Best news we've seen all year is when you popped out of that car. Glad to see you're all right.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, guys.
Well, once again, the finish, 72 thousandths of a second as some 75,000 fans are headed for the gates. And, man, what a race they saw here this afternoon. Adrian Fernandez wins for the 2nd time this season. Brian Herta, his first, or actually best finish of the year in 2nd. Tony Kanaan, well, doggone it, he didn't clinch the championship this afternoon, but he has 2 more races to do it. It's still his to lose, basically.
Well, and you can see the rest of these guys made contact with the wall, fell out of the race, whatever, as they on down the field. And there's Fernandez, who really, man, oh man, he really he deserved this win. Pit strategy, the team effort, without an air jack. He used the pits under the yellow flags to his advantage and was able to finish it. If he'd had to make one green flag stop, he was dead.